My favorite glue for things like this, because the squeeze out is soft, bubbly stuff that's easy to scrape off. And it doesn't matter on these, but on the old ones, if we had hard glue to dig off of the soft wood, we'd dig into it and make a mess.
So what's your setup here?
My setup is I have a plastic bag on my sawhorse so that I don't glue these things down to the sawhorse. I'm going to put glue in the fingers, shove the fingers together tightly, and then just clamp the three pieces down to the horse. Ordinarily, with some joints at least, one would try to put a clamp on the ends that would push the ends. But with this thing, there's no way we could do that, because if we had a clamp down here pushing on the end, I mean, it would just push these open.
Yep.
So we can't do that. And these finger joints shove together pretty tightly anyway. So my view is if they're glued, shoved together, and kept together, they'll be strong. I could, I suppose, make a demo one of these and we could bang away at the finger joint to see how much it takes to break it, but I'd be willing to bet that the wood would break before the glue would. All right, this is the bit, the glue is almost off my hands from last time, so it's time to start over with that, because this stuff, you want, I don't know what you want. You tell me. I mean, I don't really care. If this were some fine piece of furniture, I would be trying desperately to avoid glue squeeze out. Here, I'd just like to have glue on everything, so I don't really care if it comes squeezing out every which way but loose, because this thing is going to be milled. I just want glue on both sides of the fingers. In woodworking school, the people who go to those things are always taught that you should put glue on both sides of everything, but I put enough on here so that we can use one side as the applicator for the other side. And it gets on everything, I believe. I'm going to work it in there a little bit. Look to see that I've got it on everything. Yep, near enough. Just give that a little shove together. Previously put these pencil marks on to be glue align marks. Okay, I'm going to call that done. Put the clamp on it. Pin that thing down to the horse. The top of this horse is about as flat as anything around here, and I'm not worried about, if the horse weren't just dead flat, I wouldn't be deeply worried about it, because we're going to plane these things anyway. We've got almost 2 inches, and they're going to come down to, you know, 1 5/8 inches, so we've got a lot of opportunity to straighten out any little curves that may occur in them. The tactic here is to just slobber as much glue in among those fingers as it's possible to get in. It's, you know, it's the kind of fine technical touch that pervades this whole process of let's get Gorilla Glue in things. This Gorilla Glue is superb outside, just excellent outside. I've had it on garden gates and things, lasted for years without a twitch. I'm not going to be in the weather without paint, but get it shoved together. Clamp on that. Just for sake of completeness, I'll put a clamp on this, but it really doesn't matter. Look carefully at these. Yep, yep, yep. Tighten, tighten. Ready to go. It'll take about, I leave it there overnight because I'm not in a hurry to get it off there, but the Gorilla Glue people say you can take it off after about an hour or two. And, you know, as long as you don't work it hard, this stuff continues to set over a very long period of time. But overnight, it's just completely dry and there are no issues. And I don't need my sawhorse back so quickly. that I have to have, or my clamps or something that I have to have it off of here so it can just live there. It's going to come out like this with bubbled out glue here and there. And the joints in this are not dead level anyway. It's a great deal thicker than we want. That's for a purpose so that we can shave it down and get it really flat to go on the car, which car isn't flat anyway probably, but we can try. So I've left enough material so that I can take it off both sides, shaving it down, getting something that's our 1 5/8 that has a nice flat side on each side. And that's the goal. So the first thing I'll do is put it across the jointer to get myself one flat side. Then I can put it through a surface planer that'll take the other side off. It'll roll on its flat side and remove the other side. And there we'll take it down until it's the right thickness.
Mm-hmm.
We're pretty close to it.
So do you have a process to consider which side you have flat and which side you take a little, perhaps a little more meat off of?
Yes. In this case, I would like to get rid of as much of that knot as I can. Well, it'll probably improve in terms of being a knot with a big crack as I plane down here. So I'm going to flatten this side, which means passing it once or twice probably. And then most of this material, I mean, we're going to remove material down to probably here or something or other. So this material will all come off in the planer. And with the disappearance of this material, we may get rid of that knot. I don't know how deep it is. Mm-hmm. I don't know what's going on with it. But, you know, we're going to find out what it looks like down at this level. Mm-hmm. And my guess is better because it doesn't show on the other side. But, you know, that's just a guess and can be wrong, certainly. If there were big glue blobs on this side, I'd remove them before I started with this, obviously, so I'm running flat on the wood. These will be taken off by the planer. I'm not very worried about those. Ready for off?
I am.
All righty. Take just as little as I can get off this side, so I just run it until I hear the blade contacting the wood all the way down, and then I know that it's flat and we've got what we want for that side of the thing anyway. For the other side, we go to the other planer. Everything is in its own way right now, but life's like that sometimes. If I need to be somewhere else, you know, there are machinist calipers. It doesn't require this amount of precision, and set it at 5/8 of an inch, so this gap is 5/8. Then each time it comes through the planer, I can try it against it and see how I'm getting along for size. If anything, I'd rather it was a hair bigger than a hair smaller, because I can always put it through again. I can always rub it 3 times with a piece of sandpaper. Big is better. I mean, if one of these gets small, it's not the end of the world, because it's going to be a, you know, less than a 64th small probably, but I'd rather have them a little big at this stage. Let's take it off. So we fire things up.
So can you tell me about this planer a little bit?
Sure. The Delta 18-inch planer, it has grabby rollers on the bottom and serious blades on the top. And I say serious blades, it's a 3-horse planer, which is a pretty good size planer. and the blades spin around and remove material from the top. And because it has rollers here, rollers there, and a flat steel bed here, as long as the bottom's flat, and we just flattened it, when it runs through here, it'll make the top parallel to the bottom. So the top is not only going to be flat, but going to be parallel. And those two things are things that we really need here. If the bottom hadn't been flattened, this might not do a very good job of making the sides parallel. It has to be running on a flat surface in order to create a flat surface at the top. My blades aren't the sharpest in the world anymore, but they are good enough. I would try to pass it twice. I misjudged the thickness of that, but this now is just a, just a kind of a press fit on there. It's not sloppy at all, and it's set at 1 5/8, so